Welcome to the We Are All Stories Catalogue, a collection of creative works produced by young participants in storytelling workshops held in Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy, Poland, and Serbia as part of the EU Cares project. These workshops encouraged youth to explore themes of trauma, reconciliation, and healing using various artistic mediums and storytelling techniques from the previously developed e-toolkit. The resulting collection showcases the power of storytelling to heal, reconcile, and inspire a positive future for inclusive societies. What you'll find inside: two tales crafted from collected narratives, transforming discriminatory and distorted perspectives into stories with positive morals. Two podcasts on Western Balkans' collective trauma, reconciliation, and healing from the past. A photographic exhibition exploring themes of diversity, minority representation, and cultural differences. Two podcasts detailing the refugee journey to the EU. An animated video highlighting the experience of belonging to disadvantaged groups. Each piece has been created to foster intercultural dialogue, peaceful coexistence, and a positive vision for inclusive societies. Moreover, this digital resource is designed to inspire reflection and discussion, contributing to ongoing efforts for reconciliation and mutual understanding. Take a deep breath and a moment or two to explore the catalog and witness the power of storytelling and bridging divides and building a shared future rooted in empathy and respect.
Storytelling does not always need a safe and dedicated space, but it can also be performed during other events. In these frameworks, events serve as a platform for community members to connect and enhance their sense of community belonging. Inclusivity and diversity are the leitmotif of this technique, accompanied by open mic formats and intimate setting. The background can vary, but facilitators and hosts must be differentiated, and interactive elements are to be included. Moreover, story circles are an asset in this framework. Community storytelling, when performed during events, can play a significant role in strengthening communities, promoting understanding and celebrating diverse voices, making up communities' narratives. The open mic format in this case can be an option. The loose structure and the absence of specific timeframes leave space for spontaneity, playfulness, and collective construction of meaning. Either the setting is intimate or public, community storytelling plays a fundamental role for the sense of unity, belonging, and similarity that keep a community together. Young Intellectuals, Hope Association implemented this technique in Albania, using as community storytelling tool the story of the legend of Rozufa Castle.
The story tells about the initiative of three brothers who set down to build a castle. They worked all day, but the foundation walls fell down at night. They met a wise old man who seems to know the solution of the problem, asking them if they were married. When the three brothers responded positively, the old man said,
"If you really want to finish the castle, you must swear never to tell your wives what I am going to tell you now. The wife who brings you your food tomorrow you must bury alive in the wall of the castle. Only then will the foundations stay put and last forever."
The three brothers swore on Besa, oath, to not speak with their wives of that happened. However, the two eldest brothers broke their promise and quietly told their wives everything, while the honest youngest brother kept his Besa and said nothing. The mother of the three brothers knew nothing of their agreement, and while the next afternoon at lunchtime, she asked her daughters-in-law to bring lunch to the workers. Two of them refused with an excuse. The brothers waited anxiously to see which wife was carrying the basket of food. It was Rosafa, the wife of the youngest brother, who left her younger son at home. Embittered, the youngest brother explained to her what the deal was, that she was to be sacrificed and buried in the wall of the castle so that they could finish building it. And she didn't protest, but, worried about her infant son, she accepted being immured and made a request.
I have but one request to make. When you wall me in, leave a hole for my right eye, for my right hand, for my right foot, and for my right breast. I have a small son. When he starts to cry, I will cheer him up with my right eye. I will comfort him with my right hand. I will put him to sleep with my right foot and wean him with my right breast. Let my breast turn to stone and the castle flourish. May my son become a great hero, ruler of the world.
Youngster from Albania, when watching this video, they come up with messages to a broader European audience. Sacrifice for the community well-being. Respect and love for family. Never give up on your major objectives. Sacrifice and loyalty are the best virtues to build the future. Women's are an important factor for society development, so they need respect and love.
PRIMA analyzed conflict and trauma through the storytelling technique, Circle of Forgiveness. This method focuses on the entire process of forgiveness and what is needed for it. The participant discussed forgiveness that they give, but also receive, and how both of these make them feel. The final product of the workshops is a video where one of the participants tells their story of direct war trauma, its consequences, and then discusses forgiveness. This story shows how someone with war trauma can forgive and move on, and shares the lessons learned from these experiences. It is a hopeful message that even though war draws out the worst from people, it also draws out the best.
Voljela bih da svako ko kaže da rat izvlači najgore iz ljudi, samo stavi zarez, ali i najbolje iz ljudi.
Kad te pitaju odakle si, šta im ti kažeš?
Živim u Podgorici.
Kako je tekao taj put od Hrvatske do Crne Gore?
Znači, moja porodica je čitav rat bila na ratištu u suštini. Moj otac je nasilno regrutovan. Moja majka je ostala sa mojom sestrom koja je maltene tek rođena u stanu i provela je 5 godina držeći radio u rukama i slušajući da li je tatina jedinica broj taj i taj, preživjela ili je zarobljena ili je ubijena i tako dalje. Moj otac je dolazio kući kad je stigao da dođe, kad ga puste na dan, dva i tako dalje. Jedan od tih prilika je kad sam ja rođena, pustili su ga par dana kad sam rođena da dođe. Ono što ja znam iz priča, znam iz maminih priča, jer tata nikad ne govori o tome. Mi smo izbjegli u akciji Oluje 1995. godine. Znači, oglasila su sirena da moramo da izađemo iz tog područja i ljudi su počeli da prave kolonu na putu. I moja majka je pitala komšinicu da li može da nas preveze. I ona je rekla može, imam kola i sama je bila u kolima, tako da smo ja, moja sestra i moja majka pošle sa tom komšinicom. Tata je morao da ostane zato što su zabranili svakom muškarcu da napusti državu dok se rat u potpunosti ne završi. Moja majka je uspjela da zgrabi 3 stvari, to su tuta, pošto sam ja imala 2 godine tad, ćebe i kad je izlazila iz zgrade našla je negdje neki komad pršute. To je bio naš inventar kad smo izašli. Stali smo u jednom gradiću u Hrvatskoj kod nekih prijatelja da stanemo pored puta i da vidimo da li ćemo tatu da vidimo. Majka je stajala satima pored puta da vidi i posmatrala kolonu iz Oluje da vidi da li će tata da naiđe. Tata je u jednom momentu naišao i morao iz nekoliko puta da se vraća. U svom tom putu morao iz nekoliko puta da se vraća da spasi ovoga ili spasi onoga ako nije čuo ili ne zna u tom trenutku i tako dalje. Onda smo poslije toga prolazili kroz Bosnu, nismo znali gdje idemo u suštini i nešto što nikad neću zaboraviti i nešto što stalno svaki put ako pričam ovu priču moram da pomenem je to da su, ona naravno znalo se u tom trenutku da su to izbjeglice iz Hrvatske, kojim povodom se stvorila ta kolona, koji su ljudi koji su u toj koloni. Kad smo prolazili kroz Bosnu, ljudi su stajali, Bosanci su stajali pored puta i ubacivali nam stvari u auta, od hrane, odjeće, uložaka i tako dalje. Šta god im je palo na pamet da bi mogli da nam pomognu, oni su stajali, pozivali nas da uđemo, da se okrepimo, da ne znam šta nam je potrebno. Ne mogu da ispričam tu priču, a da to ne pomenem, to je stvarno nemoguće.
Kaži mi, da li se sjećaš kako izgledala i kako se osjećala tvoja majka u trenucima dok drugi ljudi pokazuju toliku solidarnost sa vama i gledaju da vam pomognu koliko mogu?
Moja majka Bosance obožava. Moja majka je zbog tog iskustva koje je imala, u njoj su svi Bosanci najbolji na svijetu. Ona kad čuje akcenat, ona neki jaran. Kolonu su bombardovali, znači iako su nam rekli izađite ili ostanite, bombardujemo Knin, kolonu su ipak bombardovali. Tata je pitao da li možemo da prođemo do granice sa Bosnom, odgovorili su mu možeš samo ako voziš sve vrijeme 100 na sat, jer je to brzina u kojoj ne mogu da te targetiraju, promašit ćete.
Ima li nešto, osim ove divne pomoći u Bosni, ima li nešto što ti pamtiš ili što pamte tvoji roditelji pa si ti čula da je bilo dobro, nešto što je ulivalo nadu?
Definitivno je najpozitivnija stvar koja nas je izvukla, to su drugi ljudi, bez drugog čovjeka koji se ponaša ljudski prema tebi. Nikakav boljitak ne može u životu da se napravi, ništa pozitivno ne može da se desi. Kad smo došli, tu je bio čovjek koji je rekao u Vojvodinu koji ima toliko i toliko kuću sa toliko i toliko soba i kreveta, svakome kome treba da može da stane u moju kuću, vrata su otvorena.
Koja su tvoja osjećanja koji se sjećaš, koja vezuješ za taj period?
Pa, osjećanje su uglavnom dominantno strah i neizvjesnost možda nije osjećanje ili je šta god da se izaziva neizvjesnost, ali neizvjesnost kao pojam koji se u glavi vrti sve vrijeme. Ugroženost i zajedništvo zato ne mogu da, kako se ta tema ne pomene, ne mogu da ne osjetim ljubav i zahvalnost jer sam toliko srećna što je moja porodica živa. I što naravno da nisu potrebne takve stvari da se dokaže da tebe roditelj voli, ali moja majka je moj život branila od kad sam bila u njenoj utrobi, bukvalno metak je prošao pored nje kad je bila trudna sa mnom, do toga da su granate padale, što sam pomenula, da su lijegali preko nas, daleko od toga da je potrebno, ja bih najviše na svijetu voljela da to nije moralo da se desi, ali tu zahvalnost koju ja prema njima osjećam što su dali sve što su mogli da daju za mene i za moju sestru ne znam čime može da se izmjeri. I ljubav koju osjećam prema njima, što su u svemu tome uspjeli da brinu o nama na drugi način, ne samo na egzistencijalni, onaj puki, ajde, sigurna sam da tu ima i tog sad kad bismo ušli u neke analize i tako dalje. I genetskog impulsa da se sačuvaju potomci i tako dalje. Daleko od toga da nisam svjesna toga i to. Ali upravo to što sam pomenula i na jučerašnjoj sesiji, da sama činjenica da nas nisu naučili koga da mrzimo. U svemu tome, da su sačuvali toliko emotivne zrelosti, empatije ili čega god, sad šta je sve njima bilo potrebno, to samo oni znaju šta im je sve bilo potrebno, da dođu do tačke da ne mrze nikoga i da nauče nas da ne mrzimo nikoga i da to ne funkcioniše tako.
Da li bi ti danas mogla da odeš u Hrvatsku, ne znam, na ljetovanje ili da radiš tokom sezone ili da prosto prođeš tu, da odeš na neki seminar, posao bi mogao da te odvede?
Da, da. Ja sam išla u Hrvatsku i jedno vrijeme smo, to su posjete uglavnom gdje odsjedamo kod rođaka, ali bila sam u Hrvatskoj i bila sam u Zagrebu i u Kninu i u još par mjesta, ali apsolutno mogu da pođem. Ima jako bolnih momenata. Knin mi je jako bolan zato što prolazimo kroz stan koji je bio naš, gdje su ostale fotografije kad smo mi bile male. I svaki put se zapitam mogu li da pokucam, da pitamo, izvinite, znam da je prošlo skoro 30 godina, ali postoji li šansa da ste ostavili fotografije te koje su bile tu? To ne može da mi ne prođe kroz glavu kad prođem, boli me briga za stan i za sve to što je bilo u tom stanu, ali te fotografije su mi... To je jedino za čim žalim, da smo ostavili od materijalnih stvari. Mislim, materijalne u suštini nisu. Jesu materijalne, ali naravno uspomene su u pitanju. Bolno mi je što se glavni trg u Kninu zove Trg Oluje, u slavu Oluje. Znači ne u spomen Oluje, nego u slavu Oluje, i što se Oluja slavi svake godine na trgu. To mi je jako bolno. I to je nešto što mi svaku posjetu u tom gradu
A tvoji roditelji su prošli kroz velike izazove životne da bi sačuvali vas dvije i u krajnjem sebe, i vi ste opstali kao porodica. I meni zvuči kad ovo kažeš da si beskrajno zahvalna jer su vas naučili da nikoga ne mrzite, ne mogu, a da ne pomislim da su oni uspjeli da oproste nekom ili nečemu za sve što se desilo. Da li si ti oprostila, da li opraštaš?
Uvijek ću apsolutno imati razumijevanja za činjenicu da neću da povezujem grupu ljudi za neku drugu individu koja pripada istoj grupi po nekim kriterijumima i tako dalje, kao ni moji roditelji. Moji roditelji o oprostu ne pričaju. Oni su samo nastavili da žive svoj život i da se snalaze kroz život kako znaju i umiju. I da ne šire mržnju. Sama činjenica da su oni nastavili da žive svoj život i da nisu proširili mržnju, vrsta oprosta. Ne znam. Ja ne želim da kupim jed u sebi. Da li ja izbjegavam negativne emocije time što ne razmišljam i ljutim se, nisam sigurna, ali imam osjećaj da u mojoj duši, u mojoj psihi nema prostora za to.
Možemo li na trenutak da se vratimo na te divne ljude koji vam pomažu dok vi praktično spašavate glavu na ramenima? Šta si iz toga naučila?
Voljela bih da svako ko kaže da rat izvlači najgore iz ljudi, samo stavi zarez, ali i najbolje iz ljudi.
Vjerujem da ne želiš nikad nikome da se ponovi ovo što se desilo vama, ali sam isto tako sigurna da bi ti za neke ljude u nevolji učinila ih 10 puta više nego što su Bosanci mogli u tom trenutku za vas.
Nadam se da bih, želim da vjerujem da bih.
This narrative technique envisions alternative futures to address present conflicts or divergent perspectives and promote collective trauma healing and conflict resolution. It involves the craft of narratives that can or should challenge mainstream perspectives by empowering individuals' agency and capabilities. These stories should facilitate dialogue and inspire hope for future generations and actions. In doing so, they promote resilience. Participants thus collectively imagine positive outcomes to present issues and explore innovation in the future. They reframe narratives and try to find common grounds, working together towards reconciliation.
Today, your voices come together to offer a multifaceted perspective on the challenges and opportunities facing Bosnia and Herzegovina, weaving together personal stories, historical insights, and experiences as youth living in this country, and visionary leadership to imagine a future of peace, prosperity, and shared identity. You are the future ambassadors of peace in Europe. After going through the EU Cares training program and the workshops in Sarajevo, what personal stories or perspectives can you share with us today?
Well, hello. I would like to start with a simple example from last year, September. We were on excursion with our school and we met people, colleagues from another school with us in a hotel next. And when we started a conversation with them, we asked them, actually they first asked us, where are we from? We said Sarajevo. And then we asked them, where are you from? Where do you come from? They said Republika Srpska. And I said, okay, but what part, what town, city? And they said, we don't want to say, we are from Republika Srpska, we're not from Bosnia. They started kind of a fight with us, and then we just left. So we never found out why they wouldn't say Banja Luka or any other part of the Republika Srpska. And this actually made me kind of sad and a little mad, confused definitely, because war ended 30 years ago, and I'm not saying that it should be forgotten, but it definitely shouldn't be an everyday reminder of the hate that was in all of us during that, I mean, not me personally, but in people during that time. I would like to see, and I hope to see, young people working on living in peace together, no matter our ethnical identity, no matter religions, race, or anything else.
Well, Yugoslavia's breakup was complex, driven by a mix of ethnic tensions, economic disparities, and political factors. Ethnic tensions between various groups, especially Serbs, Croats, and Bosniaks, escalated, fueled by historical grievances and nationalist sentiments. Economic struggles and the inability to address them effectively escalated these tensions. Additionally, the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe weakened the centralized authority that held Yugoslavia together. Political leaders exploited these divisions for their gain, leading to the violent breakup in the 1990s. The breakup divided people that lived together in harmony by religion, by something they were assigned to since birth, that were friends, couples, neighbors, and colleagues. And after all these years, recently we had the Srebrenica resolution voted out as a genocide. Hopefully this resolution will bring clearance to the people that negated the genocide and the act against humanity that happened in my home country. Of the neighboring countries, Montenegro and Croatia voted for the resolution and Serbia voted against it.
So Croatia is one of our neighbor countries who voted in favor of resolution, but we still have a problem of two schools under one roof. In Herzegovina, there's a building where Catholic children go to class in the morning hours and Bosniak children go to class in afternoon hours. It affects youth by making them think that we are not all the same. Is this really what we want, a system that divides us ethnically?
So if I had any say in unifying my country, I think that us citizens should be united just by the fact that we share this identity as Bosnians, and I don't think we should be divided by our ethnicity, religion, or politics in general, because we can't achieve a better future if we don't work towards it. And especially when we talk about politics, I really don't understand why we have 3 presidents who control us and they give us this false hope in making our country a better and safer place. And I think that we are the ones who need to make this change happen.
Participants involved in this activity are required to come from the same community. The collective exercise aims to discuss the way we build common traditions and to ensure that each participant understands the arbitrary side of generating culture. Thus, facilitators have a crucial role in describing the effective outcome of the activity, understanding agency and cultures.
Zdravo svima, ja sam Sofija, učesnica projekta Prevazilaženja kolektivnih trauma kroz storytelling tehnike koje sprovodi EU CARES. Na susretu koji smo imali u Palermu u februaru ove godine smo razgovarali o traumama kroz koje prolaze ljudi iz raznih zemalja, kao i o načinima prevazilaženja istih. Kao jedan dio ovog projekta sproveli smo jednu radionicu ovdje u Banja Luci pod nazivom Da li znaš tradiciju moga regiona, gdje smo razgovarali sa mladim ljudima o njihovim traumama. Trenutno snimamo podcast u kojem ćemo malo detaljnije pričati o ovoj temi sa mojom kolegicom Stevanijom, koja je također učestvovala na projektu, a također ćete čuti i mišljenja i naše razgovore sa starijim ljudima i našim sugrađanima. Pa Stevanija, da počnemo. Koja vrsta tradicije definiše tvoj identitet?
Prije svega, dobar dan i želim da pozdravim sve i također da kažem da mi je velika čast što sam u podcastu i što evo možemo pričati o ovoj temi za koju ja smatram da je jako važna. Pa neke od tradicija koje se vežu za moj identitet, ja bih rekla da su to možda neki vjerski praznici, kao što su evo kod nas Vaskrs, Božić, slavljenje slave, također okupljanje u crkvi, druženje sa porodicom. Kao mala išla sam na folklor, što mislim također da mi je izgradilo u jednoj mjeri, jer sam se družila i kroz svo to druženje sa drugim mladim ljudima sam spoznala zapravo svoj identitet i koliko je tradicija jako važna. Sada poslušat ćemo i jedan govor starije osobe koji kaže:
Također njegujemo narodne običaje kroz nošenje narodne nošnje, izvođenje narodnih plesova, iako su se neki aspekti prilagodili savremenom životu, trudimo se zadržati suštinu naših tradicija. Ovi običaji su mi pomogli da očuvam duboku vezu sa prošlošću i prenesem te vrijednosti na buduće generacije, osiguravajući da naša kultura ostane živa i autentična.
Složila bih se sa ovom izjavom, samo bih dodala da evo možda mi mlađe generacije danas spoznajući našu tradiciju i nacionalnu i vjersku, jer dosta ljudi to danas miješaju, ali to je odvojeno da kažem, iako u nacionalno ima te malo primjesi i vjerskog, da bih se složila sa ovim izjavama, ali mislim da mi mladi ljudi više danas prihvatamo različitosti i više prihvatamo i druge religije, druge vjere, druge nacionalne pripadnosti, te samim tim što više volimo svoje, imamo i veće i više mogućnosti da poštujemo i tuđe i da se međusobno podržavamo.
Da, baš zato što shvaćamo koliko je to nama bitno, shvaćamo koliko je bitno i ostalima. Vanja, voljela bi prije tvog sljedećeg odgovora da čujemo mišljenje starije sugrađanke koja također govori o ovoj temi. Koje tradicije ili običaje u vašoj porodici ili zajednici smatrate najvažnijim za očuvanje kulturnog identiteta i zašto?
Najvažniji običaj u mojoj porodici su običaj vezani za vjerske praznike, kao što su Božić, Vaskrs, Slava, pa i oni međunarodni poput Nove godine i slično. Te običaje smatram iznimno važnim zato što čuvaju kulturno nasljeđe naših predaka, zato što su lijepi, zato što okupljaju porodicu, zato što njeguju ljubav, povezanost. I smatram da djeci usađuju duboko korijenje, važno ih je njegovati, zato što tako odgajamo djecu u stabilne ljude koji, apsolutno prepoznaju svoj identitet, pripadnost, vežemo ih za porodicu, zemlju, tradiciju i gdje god da ih put nanese, oni znaju ko su i bez obzira koliko širili svoje krošnje i grane, naravno u metaforičkom smislu, imaju zdrave korijene.
Dobro. Kako su te tradicije i običaji koje ste naslijedili od svojih predaka mijenjali tokom vremena? I na koji način mislite da su te tradicije oblikovali vaš lični identitet?
Pa naravno da su mijenjali sa napretkom civilizacije, modernizacijom. Neke stvari je mnogo lakše i pristupačnije sprovoditi zbog olakšavajućih faktora koji su došli sa modernim dobom. Ti običaji su mene lično oblikovali u stabilnu osobu koja poštuje svoju tradiciju, a samim tim imam i ogromno poštovanje za običaje drugih naroda i njihovu tradiciju i kulturu. Jer u suštini svaka kultura i tradicija se mahom zasniva na pravim vrijednostima, njegujući ljubav, poštovanje, porodicu i domovinu. I to je nešto što želim da prenesem i na svoju djecu, kao i da oni na njihovu, kako bismo nastavili stvarati zdrava pokoljenja.
Hvala. Reci meni, od kojeg značaja su tebi te tradicije i na koji način se oni manifestuju na tebe?
Pa prije svega rekla bih da su mi od velikog značaja. Mislim da sam se kroz tradiciju pronašla što se tiče identiteta, ali i što se tiče mene same kao individue, jer smatram da ne možemo ni da živimo sami, ali da je jako važno da smo kao individua zdravi, kako fizički, tako i mentalno, i da sam možda spoznala sebe kroz svu tu tradiciju i jer eto, kao što sam već rekla na početku, pronašla sam i svoj identitet, jer mislim da ljudi konstantno tragaju za svojim identitetom i onom zapravo što jesu. Tako da mislim da je jako važno da sam se izgradila u jednu, kako da kažem, čvrstu osobu koja ima različita razmišljanja, prilagodljiva je i nikada neće zaboraviti odakle potiče, jer kada osoba zaboravi svoje korijene, ona više, hajde, ne mogu da kažem da je ništa, ali eto u tom nekom smislu da se izrazim. Te mislim da je jako važno jer sam tako stekla i nove prijatelje i nemam problema kada upoznajem druge ljude koji su različite nacionalnosti, vjere i tako dalje, jer kao što ste već spomenula, shvatam koliko je to meni bitno, toliko je sigurno i njima bitno i mislim da možemo, ako oboje poštujemo jedni druge u tom nekom razgovoru, da će taj razgovor da teče u nekom zdravom pravcu i da smo mi jedne zdrave i inspirisane osobe.
Slažem se s tobom. A da li misliš da se u okviru tvoje tradicije, tačnije tradicije koje pripadaš, prenosi neki vid kolektivne traume?
Da, naravno. Što se toga tiče, mislim da svaka tradicija na neki način nosi neku kolektivnu traumu. Dakle, mi smo ljudi, griješimo i nismo svi savršeni, te tako mislim da ne možemo ni sve savršeno da prenesemo. Dakle, mi nesvjesno prenosimo tu kolektivnu traumu. Evo, u mom slučaju, u našoj kulturi, nešto što se skorije dešavalo jesu ti ratovi na prostorima Bosne i Hercegovine, gdje su ljudi i kroz rat pokušavali da očuvaju svoju tradiciju. Na primjer, kod mene u mojoj religiji su naše bake, majke pokušavale da očuvaju slavljenje slave, Božića, Vaskrsa i tako dalje, ali kroz sve to taj možda neki strah i kolektivna trauma je, kako da kažem, da se izrazim, zavladala ljudima i oni su kasnije moje bake to prenijele na moju mamu, mog oca, oni to prenose na mene i iako ja nisam učestvovala u ratu i nisam tada ni bila rođena, ja kroz te neke, kako da kažem, kroz neke priče i prenošenja znam dosta toga što se desilo i mislim da to možda malo i subjektivno, jer kako se kaže, svaka medalja ima dvije strane, tako da sigurno iz nekog drugog ugla, na primjer kada bi to pričao neki Hrvat ili Bošnjak, bi to izgledalo skroz drugačije iz njihove perspektive, a drugačije iz perspektive mojih roditelja, te iz tog razloga mislim da je jako važno da to za izlječenje, da je jako važno sagledati priče iz svih uglova, ali evo, mislim da se ta kolektivna trauma baš i prenosi, jer je to sve dosta subjektivno, jer samo slušamo konstantno jednu stranu te neke priče.
Slažem se da kada bi ljudi shvatili da su sve tri strane u ovom ratu podnijele gubitke, da bi lakše razumjeli jedni drugi. Da li kolektivna trauma prepoznata u našem društvu i da li se ljudi bore da ozdravi?
Pa mislim da nije dovoljno prepoznata, nažalost. Danas sve više možemo, iako smo se dosta odmakli od tog nesretnog rata, možemo vidjeti razne priče i dešavanja koji se i dalje pozivaju na rat, posebno naša politička scena, te iz tog razloga mislim da nije prepoznato kao kolektivna trauma dovoljno i mislim da ljudi, što je najgore, nisu okrenuti ka izlječenju te kolektivne traume, te bi se na tome trebalo mnogo raditi. I mislim da sve dok se ne izliječimo od te kolektivne traume mi nikada nećemo moći ni postati zdravo društvo, niti ćemo krenuti dovoljno naprijed. Dakle, jako je važno da prošlost ostavimo iza nas, dakle da nikada ne zaboravimo, da se sjećamo, ali da to ne definiše našu budućnost, naše ponašanje, mišljenje i tako dalje. Kao što sam već rekla i na početku, dakle važno je da znamo svoje korijene, da ih nikad ne zaboravimo, ali isto tako važno je da poštujemo druge.
Tradicija je dio našeg kulturnog nasljeđa i sva moralna načela koje u njoj vladaju. Stoga sklapanje brakova kao tradicija je jako važna za mene. Jer se iz toga rađa porodica, ljubav i na taj način očuvamo svoju tradiciju i ostajemo zdravi članovi društva. Prije svega zdravi duhom i stup smo naše porodice.
Kako komentarišete izjavu naše sugrađanke koju smo trenutno poslušali?
Pa složila bih se sa sugrađankom, prosto iz razloga što mislim da je porodica stup svega. Stup našeg društva i svi smo mi kao društvo jedna velika porodica. Dakle, evo kroz tradiciju koju sam ja učena, također i crkva je porodica. I da ako nije zdrava porodica, neće biti zdravo ni društvo. Složila bih se da brak kao tradicija sklapanje braka jeste važno jer sklapanjem braka dolazi do jedne porodice gdje kasnije se produžava vrsta. Također, pored toga u porodici imamo razna moralna načela koja mislim da su jako kvalitetna i dobro postavljena i da treba da se poštuju. Naravno, kroz porodicu se i nosi ta neka kolektivna trauma, ali ako se mi trudimo da budemo zdravi, da se poštujemo, da budemo zdrava jedinka, zajedno ćemo i mijenjati porodicu i društvo. I da, mislim da sklapanje brakova za cilj koji imaju formiraju jednu porodicu, mislim da je to jako važno za čitavo društvo jer čovjek ne može biti sam. Čovjek ne može biti sam na ovom svijetu, prosto težimo ka tome da budemo u društvu, da budemo s ljudima, dakle prije svega s porodicom, pa kasnije i vani na poslu, da budemo koristan član naše zajednice i kao što je gospođa rekla, da bi bili zdravi duhom i da bi bili stup porodice, važno je da učimo, da se razvijamo i prije svega da pričamo, posebno da pričamo o ovim kolektivnim traumama, da bi se svi zajedno izliječili i da bi postali, da kažem, stabilnije i zdravije društvo bez nekih deformacija.
Hvala ti, Stevanija, na ovom razgovoru.
Prije svega hvala vama, bila mi je čast i pitanja su stvarno bila zanimljiva. Nadam se da će ovo nekome pomoći i da će se također pronaći.
I nama su tvoji odgovori bili zanimljivi i mogu reći veoma poučni, a vi dalje pratite naše aktivnosti preko društvenih mreža na profilu PERPETUUM mobile i EUCARES profilu. Hvala.
Visual storytelling has been identified by the participants to the phases of the project as a fundamental tool to ensure the engagement of young people. To this extent, we have applied visual storytelling to the generation of alternative narratives on conflict, urban, environmental, socio-cultural, through the means provided by analogic photography. Participants have developed their abilities both in terms of creating and co-designing a narrative, through the idea of a long-term story and reportage. Development and print of the photos and their arrangement in an outdoor expo open to public supported their vision of stories and narratives for a wider audience, pushing participants to discuss among them the most effective narrative means to bring their perspectives to visually be understood. Conflict was the common theme of all the EUCARES storytelling workshops, and its application to the city of Palermo, thanks to photography, is motivated by the versatility of this craft along with its possibility to adapt to the inner conflict the city experiences. The final product is a mixture of aesthetics and more veiled and shadowed interpretations of conflict. The visual means supported the narrator to maintain complexity while overcoming the obstacles of the spoken word, particularly relevant in contexts of multilingualism or recent migration.
Conflict can be seen on paper, but is lighter in photos. The most common form of storytelling, speech, does not need a material medium to produce its effects. Artistic creations, however, always tell a story that goes beyond their aesthetic appearance. These stories have peculiar traits. More veiled and shadowed, they respond to personal interpretation. This allows the narrator to maintain complexity while overcoming the obstacle of the spoken word, which is particularly relevant in contexts of multilingualism or recent migration. Conflict. They tell you have to choose, or it is white, or it is black. Irreconcilable conflicts, and they forget that there are grays and all their nuances. Conflict was the common theme of all EU Cares storytelling workshops. CESIE chose to analyze the aspects that best apply to the city of Palermo, social and urban conflict through photography. The choice was motivated by the versatility of this craft. Photography is a creative art that is well adapted to picturing contrasts and conflict, especially in its reportage and street variations. At the same time, it allows for powerful expressions of emotions and encourages introspection in the portrait and still life. Palermo is a mosaic of conflicts between beauty and tragedy, hope and pain, bruises and vital. The first group started with portraits. Participants paired up and went out of the studio, where the light was more generous. The task was to shoot 2 portraits of the partner trying to capture the essence of their personality. Carlotta insisted on the versatility of the genre, which can go well beyond the conventional identification picture. It can be a body detail, a posture, or a facial expression. The only limitation is to picture the body, or a representation of it. This was a moment of personal narratives storytelling, or storytelling of the self through the means of photography. This activity contained elements of the celebrating diversity technique and eye-to-eye storytelling as well. On day 4, all the negatives of the pictures taken during previous workshops had been developed and scanned digitally. It was time to view them and make a selection for the upcoming exposition. Scanning the pictures and observing them on digital support is a recurrent practice in analogic photography, as it allows for better observation before printing. All participants sat down, and with a projector, we looked at their pictures. This activity is an adaptation of the storytelling circles technique with elements of creative arts. This was a moment of reveal, as they did not know how their shots had come out. We first examined their reportage pictures on the theme of conflict. Participants gave a short introduction of their work and ideas and commented on their pictures as they appeared. They told the story behind, where they were shot, and the intention or purpose if they had one. Then we looked at the portraits. Each participant chose one of the 2 in which they starred. As the participants were numerous, this workshop lasted longer than the previous ones. The exercise of the portrait was a success, as all images managed to capture the personality of their subjects in a beautiful and personal way. Seeing themselves in a portrait produced awe and proud embarrassment for some participants. Appearing in a picture in front of the whole group was certainly an act of exposure, which however happened healthily and positively. The safe space that we managed to create since day 1 allowed participants to show parts of their personality without shame or self-restraint. As facilitators, we could perceive this was a crucial outcome for some participants. The main technique employed in the workshop was creative art storytelling. Many other techniques, however, informed our activities and blended with creative arts. Celebrating diversity, community storytelling, personal narratives, eye-to-eye storytelling, and storytelling circles. The theme of urban conflict was functionally adapted to the objective of social inclusion. The choice of speaking in artistic language was also an attempt to neutralize feelings of rage or discontent that might come out of the observation of conflict. Art has the special power of upheaving negativity into beauty, and to heal part of our wounds in the process, as it empowers us to be creators of our own meaning. Art can be practiced by everyone. The problem is that not all humans receive the necessary encouragement and motivation to cultivate their artistic expression. Many have the mistaken feeling that they are not up to it. This is why we believe that providing practical possibilities to create beauty and meaning to people who do not usually have access to it is an act of great utility. Not only does it represent a step towards social inclusion, it is a key that opens doors to self-exploration and personal development. From a sociological perspective, the event had an important impact in terms of social capital. If we consider the perspective of the migrant miners who participated as photographers, it was probably one of the first occasions of socialization with external circles in the new country since their arrival. It was for us reason of great satisfaction and pride to see their pictures hanging on the walls. Conflicts and contrasts of our Palermo. They emerge between bruises and resistance through the magic of photography. Every place, person, object is a contrast. What do you see? Conflict or coexistence? What is urban conflict to you? How can storytelling modify the way you perceive it? What would you narrate of it, and why? Who enters this whole leaves behind the world of logics and embraces the uncertainty, because here nothing is how it looks.
Expressive or creative art therapy describes the involvement of creative and artistic activities to promote emotional, physical, and psychological well-being. This technique recognized therapeutic benefits of engaging in artistic expressions. It should be conducted by experienced and qualified practitioners, mainly therapists. Approaches should be many and varied, as each creative technique lends itself better to some and worse to others. A practice that integrates both mind and body, as well as the expression and representation of emotions, is encouraged. Participants thus explore the art therapy methodology, Wheel of Emotions, and Identity Collage, of which further inspire them to discuss and develop 2 narrative podcasts about the refugees' journey to the EU, focusing on the Ukraine case in particular.
At the very beginning, I remember that I was home alone watching TV, and then on the internet I found out like the very first news saying that there's a war in Ukraine. So I switched my TV to the news channel, and I was simply shocked. I remember that I couldn't even move, I couldn't say anything. I was just staring at my TV, and I was frightened, I was terrified, and also my thoughts automatically went to my friend from the university, and I was just wondering, how does he feel? Like, I didn't know what is going on. How did you feel when refugees started coming to Poland?
Personally, I think that on the one hand I was terrified seeing all the women and children from Ukraine going here. It was like a huge exodus, and I think the last time we had a similar situation was in like 1945, I guess. So yeah, on the one hand I was terrified, but on the other hand, it was uplifting to see that a lot of people from Poland were willing to give shelter, to help all the refugees. Yeah, so yeah, I would say that 2 emotions a few on the one hand, and happiness on the other hand.
I am heartbroken when I see the children, because it makes me think, Jesus, they're so young and they will have to deal with such a big trauma. And so I could see a lot of mothers with children. In my area, some dorms where like refugees were living there. So I was basically seeing them every day. And yeah, I also agree that Polish people, I think they just started to provide help, but also in Poland we still have this problem of collective trauma connected to the past conflict between Ukrainian people and Polish people. So the moment they started to come to Poland, it is still there. It was always there, but it kind of like this trauma reintroduced itself. Sorry.
Okay. In which way the war in Ukraine influenced your emotional and mental health?
Well, it was hard. At some point, I just realized that for me, I have to block some emotions and I have to stop reading news as often as I did before, because it kind of put me in an emotional state where I couldn't think about anything else. So in some time I just tried to block, to put some time limitations on reading news, and only in few months, I guess, I was ready to re-experience those emotions in a more calm way, when I knew that, okay, it's far away from the 3 days that Kyiv should have fallen. So my country is still okay, it's still my country, it still exists. The president of Ukraine is still in Kyiv, so he's not escaping, he's staying with his people. Our army is in a way better shape than it was in 2013, 2014, so we actually have a chance to survive as a country, as one nation. And it also was nice, I guess, to actually feel and actually acknowledge that countries around us started to act. It was slow, sometimes it were just small steps, but still countries and governments started to help and started to seek ways to help us in any way. And of course I felt better when I also saw that the Polish people, right, you helped us, and in a huge scale, you opened your homes, you gave us jobs, you supported us financially. It actually helped a lot, me and I guess a lot of refugees who came here, because we kind of didn't feel like we are the only ones with this problem, but people rushed to help us, and it actually helped a lot.
Okay, so from my personal and more Polish point of view, I think that the biggest influence is that I have this subconscious presumption that a war is a real thing, and it can happen. It hasn't finished. I mean, my point is that it's a real thing. You can have a war, even in Europe, right? So, and it can happen everywhere. For me, that's the biggest influence. This presumption that, well, it's a real thing, and it can happen.
Yeah, it actually also, for me, it was, I naively thought that Russians will not do that, they will not fully invade the other independent country, but then that February, that day just showed that they don't care about any rules, about any laws, about any other lives. They just have a plan, they will gonna do it, they will gonna realize that, make it happen. And you never know if he's gonna stop, when he's gonna stop, and if he was invading Ukraine on the full scale, he was ready to run the war for like 10 years, 8 years, etc. Like, you never know. You never know what's going to happen next. And it also, we were discussing the World War II, like, it wasn't like so far away, so like we still remember it. It kind of takes a lot of generations to overcome and heal the trauma.
Yeah.
And I guess that it also was the thing that also triggered and acted as a trigger for Polish people, and that's why it was even more traumatic also for other nations and for other people, not only Ukrainians.
Yeah, so maybe that's why, we have this big activity among Polish people to support refugees from Ukraine, because we collectively remember the beginning of the World War II, and we simply remember that we were let alone. Yeah. We had no support from other countries at the beginning of the war.
How do you think, how long does it take to heal the trauma?
Well, for what I know, I think it takes like six generations at least, so quite a few years. Like, I would say a century. I think it takes a century at least.
For me, it was shocking to realize that it takes 5-6 generations to heal the trauma, the collective trauma caused by wars and such events, because it actually means that our kids, our grandkids, they will be born. They haven't even been born, but they are already traumatized by our experiences, and it will be our responsibility to help them and to keep going, and not to. I hope that it will not happen again, but as we see in the recent days, not only in Ukraine, but also Israel, it's terrifying, and we can never predict what's going to be next.
How can we help in solving conflicts?
Education is the key. I mean, we should make sure that people are aware of potential results of conflicts and potential sources of conflicts. People should be aware how to deal with conflicts, during conflict, how to contact the other side, what measures can be taken to deal with potential traumas that can arise during any conflict and during and after.
What experience did you observe in interaction with Ukrainians at school or at work?
W technikum moja klasa była miła dla Ukraińców, natomiast kiedy zmieniłam szkołę na liceum, moja klasa jakby w pewnym stopniu prześladuje ich. Nie wiem dlaczego, skoro powinni mieć przecież taką trochę empatii dla nich, skoro oni uciekają z swojej ojczyzny przed wojną, przed tą wielką tragedią, która się stała dla nich. To jest takie dla mnie straszne i dla moich przyjaciół z klasy.
Yeah, I've already worked with a few people from Ukraine, and all of the experiences were fine. I mean, I think that when it comes to workplace, it's a really neutral ground. So yeah, I think that there are normal people. I wouldn't notice. I haven't noticed any differences. I mean, we all work. We can cooperate. We have different backgrounds, but it doesn't matter, to be honest. So yeah, I think that at the end we are people, and yeah, that's all.
As for me, I worked at a PR agency at that moment, and I'm super thankful to the people there, because I was the only Ukrainian, and the moment when I came to work, everybody supported me, everybody wanted to help. At the same time, our CEO said that if anybody wants to volunteer during the work hours, please do go. They were really friendly, really helpful, and they were also looking for ways to help, either it's donations, either it's volunteering, or we even hired 2 Ukrainian girls from Kiev. They didn't know language, the Polish language at that time, but still they could work, they could earn money to actually support their basic needs. So I had really positive experience with that.
Hi, hello, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ksenia. I'm Ukrainian and I'm living in Poland already over 10 years.
Hi, my name is Staszek. I've been living in Poland, Wrocław, since I was born, and we're both today here to talk about the refugees' road to the European Union.
How you felt when the war started?
Just a regular school day, and then I remember that a lot of my friends just came wearing colors of blue and yellow, and that's pretty much how I found out about the start of the war. And so it wasn't really a surprise, but it was more of a shock because it wasn't like I didn't know that it was gonna happen. You could expect it, but it's still weird that it actually happened. And so I was really quite confused. I remember a lot of my friends being filled with this confusion, a lot of anger towards Russia, and also fear because of our own future as well as people across the border.
Perfectly remember this day, 24th of February 2022. I was at home sleeping peacefully, but with a bit of worry inside. I woke up actually from my friend's message at 5 a.m. that war started, but don't worry, everything will be fine. And nothing was actually in the news when I started to scroll. And then the first news I saw, and of course the fear gripped me simply, and lots of tears and not understanding actually what is going to happen with the country and my family who is there. Even if I'm sitting in the country where nothing is happening, I was not feeling safe at all.
Were you first helping the refugees when the war started?
I wasn't really engaged then in any charity work myself, but I remember a lot of my friends just engaging in my school. Even had a lot of charity events going on, like just fundraising, even getting clothes, getting ready for the refugees to come to Poland. So bringing homes, gathering people that could and would help them when they would come. And so yeah, it was just kind of this positive energy that people kind of stood up to the occasion then.
Where did you first helping the refugees when the war started?
My priority was to help my relatives and friends first. I was rather concentrated on how to manage them leaving the country. Unfortunately, I faced the issue that lots of them, especially my parents, they didn't want to leave the country because obviously this is their home, and they have a full right to live there and not leave the country even during the war. However, some of my relatives, they decided to leave the country, and the priority was how to cross the border, because we all know how crowded it was. And after they were crossing the border, the first thing that we had to arrange is to host them somewhere. And that moment, I realized how incredible Polish people are, and how much help we receive from them.
Okay, thank you. How did you feel, and if you expected any help from Poland?
I expected help from Poland, but I didn't expect that much. Amount of the donations, empathy, simple care, food, houses that Polish people provided to us. It was really amazing. Amount of people I met during this period, it was really incredible, and with lots of them we are still in touch. And I think I will be just thankful forever for this, for the help we received. And also I have to say that Poland was the only country, I mean, let's say not only country, but the first country which our refugees were considered to move.
Okay, thank you. The question number 3 is, if your relatives consider any other countries to go to hide from war?
Yeah, as I said, Poland was the first country because, of course, we are quite close. If we're talking about the distance and culture and understanding each other and language, of course, Poland was the first country that everyone was considered because it was, let's say, easier than any other countries to move temporarily when all this nightmare started.
We used the word hide when we were talking, to hide from the war. And I was actually beginning to wonder, how do you think that most people that were leaving Ukraine, do you think that it is hiding from war or escaping it?
Equal words, they were just looking for a temporary place to wait until it's finished, because no one expected it will go that far. And I know lots of people are asking, do you really think people who came from Ukraine will be back? Difficult to answer, because my opinion was changing from the beginning of the war till now. But I still think that most of the people, let's say 70% of those who left Ukraine, they want to be back. I know that our opinions are quite different. My opinion is based on my friends, and friends and relatives who left, and they really want to be back. They want to live in their country. They want to develop it, because when you leave the country during the war, and it wasn't planned. It's very different from simple migration, right? Immigration, when you are planning to go for studies or to go for work, and everything planned in advance. So answering the most popular question, if people will be back to Ukraine, I think majority of them, yes.
So tell me, how Polish people help you?
Incredible help, how people opened their houses, how they donated, how they were feeding people, giving them clothes and food and education. We all know that to put your child to the kindergarten or to school, it's quite difficult even for Polish citizens. And when the quite some amount of Ukrainian kids arrived, from what I know, everyone found their place in school or the kindergarten, and this is also really incredible. And when people were going on to the borders, providing their help with the transportation and simple empathy, it's really incredible. I don't believe that any other nation would really do it.
When the situation started to change, what do you feel about the changes?
It's changed dramatically, I would say, unfortunately, but it's quite understandable for me that emotions went a little bit down, and people are not that much engaged now into this. They want to be back to their normal life as they had before the war. And for me, it's very clear. I don't judge anyone. For that, this is very normal cycle of the conflict. At the beginning, everyone is super engaged. Then, as I said, emotions are going down. People are getting used to that, and then they are totally forgetting about this. So, yes, situation changed, but I will never forget about the help at the beginning of the war. Is it changed how you feel as a Polish? How you feel basically versus the beginning of the war?
When the war started, I want to connect with COVID, right? So because the war started right when we were coming out of COVID, right, beginning of 2022, and so it was really interesting to see how the media changed their narration directly from the COVID to the war. So it was very sudden and very impactful because how strong it was. It was really easy to feel the change, and it was very heavy, right? But so, and it was very strange because it lasted, the heavy feeling lasted for quite some time. I remember for the first 7 months really watching the news, talking about with friends, it was just terrifying and terrible because not a couple 100 kilometers east and people living and dying in this condition. It was it's really still hard to talk about it when I now think about it. But yeah, and then, but it is of course, as you said, natural that emotions have to fade because it's impossible, I think, to live under these very severe emotions for a period of time. So people themselves, wanted to get a bit detached from that. And so I feel like right now it is not as much talked about. We now have other situations, just Gaza, right? But it is, I think that people are still having this in mind, will still remember, and I know that people are still engaged. And yeah.
Could the support have been done in a different way? If you could change something, what would you change?
I really don't want to think that in the future any other nation will face the same nightmare as we did. However, we're living in such a world that we need to be ready for that, and we need to be much more ready than we were before. So I don't think that there could be any other better support from people itself, but from government for sure yes. From my point of view, people need to know now how to behave just in case, how to behave in any situation related to war. We have this information in the social media. I know that people are ignoring this because they don't want to believe that this will ever happen with them. But I think it should be, the government needs to focus on that much more and prepare with the basic information, knowledge, what to do in any different situations.
Poland's government's actions was very connected with, there was a cooperation between us, Germany and all of the other countries in the European Union. So I think it's very important so that some sort of a codified manual, like a path to follow I think it's inevitable, so when a situation like this happens, whether in Europe or anywhere else in the world, so that a country has this, not really a fixed, and because it's impossible to have one path and one way to deal with the changing problems, but it's to have some sort of a navigation, so that it is not all over the place and it can be quite compact and throughout. So it's important to not be chaotic, right? So the countries know what they're doing.
Did government do anything about the war?
Making transports to Ukraine extremely easy. Like say, it's only military equipment, but also food and whatever else was needed. So I remember that, yes, that was, of course, very important in the beginning. Then of course, having our borders opened, allowing the refugees to work very quickly, still European Union having them have their refugee status up until this point so they can work freely. And I think, yes, a lot has been done.
How do you feel now about the war?
Yeah, the feeling is not really that intense, but I can still feel it, like there is this consciousness about it. So the people are aware that it is happening.
So guys, tell me, how do you feel about these workshops?
We spent the whole day here, and I have to say it was really quite a new and unexpected experience for me, because this whole, topic of trauma healing and social engagement in the context of war refugees, it was really something that I've never dealt with before on this much of a prepared scale, and it was very interesting because the topic that we most focus on was the method of art therapy, and it was quite fascinating because I think it is a great way for social engagement, because it creates communities with newly came people, but also with the people that have been in some sort of an area or a more unconnected group, and it creates communities within them. And I think it's very important in this context, as well as it is just very relaxing for everyone. I think it creates this sort of good, calm mentality. And I just think the methods that we are taught today, let's say this very creating art or even participating in art on a level that doesn't require any skill or talent, I think it's phenomenal, because it really can take one's mind out of their problems, because they don't have to worry about it, and they can just get so deep and soaked into this feeling that really detaches them from whatever they were dealing before. And I think it is quite a unique approach that hasn't been really heard about in Poland, and especially here it should have been, because it would certainly, at least I think so, contribute to the acclimatization of refugees from Ukraine.
So can you feel that you have a new skills from here, from these workshops?
I would say rather another perspective of it.
Yes.
I also can add that art therapy was really cool. I also didn't expect that this topic can be discussed, considered from this way.
So thank you guys for this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Family heritage storytelling is a powerful technique for cultural preservation, bonding, conflict resolution, and trauma healing within families and communities. By sharing stories, individuals can address past conflicts, reconcile differences, and foster understanding. This approach enables people to revisit and reinterpret historical events from a family and therefore personal perspective, promoting empathy and compassion. It also plays a crucial role in trauma healing, validating shared experiences and processing generational traumas, ultimately leading to collective healing. In a series of local workshops with young people, this technique was employed to create a script for an animated video. The participants, who openly shared their backgrounds, recounted their families' traumatic experiences, connecting these events to their present-day struggles. The patterns that emerged from these conversations formed the foundation for the video, highlighting the effectiveness of family heritage storytelling in facilitating healing and reconciliation.
coming. If I'm honest, kinda love it. On something, tell your uncle, sister, cousin, throw whoever listens. It's getting hard to bottle in the town and find a balance in the fucking throwing balls. It's the diamonds try to follow me. Yeah, I tend to jump when inside of reach.
Hi Fotios, do you like my new look?
Milos, what happened to you? What are you wearing?
What? You don't like it?
Are you joking? You look ridiculous. Get lost. I don't want to see you ever again.
But Fotios...
We can't be friends anymore. You are an embarrassment.
But why? This is still me.
Get lost!
There's only one place where I can be accepted and be my true self. The Valley of Oz.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome.
Oh, this place is perfect.
No, please wait. I need to talk to you.
Alright.
You don't know what happened since you left. Oh, it's awful. There's nothing left anymore.
What happened?
It was day like any other day. No.
Get you!
No, please! Oh, God, help me!
Your God is a joke. Ask louder. You can't hear you.
Oh, God!
Oh, wait, no. I forgot. Your God doesn't exist.
God, have mercy.
Now, get lost if you want to live. You and your stupid God. Run!
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I rejected you when you needed my support the most. And all of that just based on your looks and sexual orientation. That doesn't change who you are as a person. I see that now. Unfortunately, I had to go through something tough myself to realize how hard it is for you to go through your tough moments alone. I am so sorry. Can you forgive me? I really need my best friend back.
Of course I can forgive you. You're my best friend. I know you would understand eventually. I'm sorry all that happened to you.
Thank you.